Hello, this is Robin Foss, and I have another tip for you, how to create rainbow paper. Recently, I was working on a bright idea from Pixels to Pages, and in that bright idea, I was applying color wash to a photo. I ended up color washing a rainbow on it, and so I wanted my paper to coordinate that look, so I created rainbow paper. Today, you're going to learn how to make that rainbow paper. I'm going to demonstrate how to make this. And then from there you can add your photos, title, embellishments, and the story to complete a page. Let's go to Artisan. In our directions, I suggest that you pick photos to set your palette. So it doesn't have to have a complete rainbow. As you can see in my sample, it doesn't really have oranges and yellows. Then pick a neutral paper to play with as your background. So I picked from City Street's digital kit this gray paper. Add to page, add to page. Okay, and I'm going to make sure that it is centered on my page. Next, we're going to lock and hide the bottom piece of paper. So next we're going to make our diagonal cuts. So we'll select our gray paper, we'll go to the cut ribbon, straight edge cutter, straight edge, and then we're going to set the angle to 45 degrees. So I'm just typing that in. I'm going to keep both areas and cut. With the two large triangles still selected, I'm going to cut again, straight edge, but negative 45 this time. Keep both areas, cut. In the Elements panel, I'm going to hide and lock the top and bottom triangles. Then I'm going to select the remaining triangles and repeat my cuts. So step 6, I suggest that you finish cutting these sections into 6 additional sections. We're going to use the cut ribbon, cutters, straight edge to complete these cuts. And you want to keep all items selected as you finish out these cuts. So first, we're going to do 60 degrees, keep both areas, cut. Straight edge again, negative 60. Keep both areas, it's important to do that, and cut. They're all selected, straight edge. Now we're going to do 90. Keep both areas, cut. And I'll point out here over in the Elements panel, there's a few kind of non-bits that happened every time I did this. So it's just slight off cuts. So at the end, when you're flattening everything together, be sure to grab them as well. And I'll mention that again at the end. Straight edge again. And now we're going to look at our directions, and it says 75. Keep both areas, cut. And then straight edge, keep both areas, and we want it to be negative 75. Okay, cut. So now we have all of our cuts. We're going to apply the rainbow. So in my directions, I tell you to select the top left, shift bottom right, and now we're going to color wash. And we're going to use the colors in my photos to apply the rainbow. So I started with this blue in his shirt. So color ribbon, wash, and then sample from his shirt. And then I want it darker than that. So and I want more of that blue in there. So I'm going to increase saturation and I'm going to decrease the darkness. And that's not the look I'm going for. So I'm playing around with it until I might sample again. It came out more purple than I wanted it to. My eye does not see that as purple, but there, I like that better. Okay, now I'm going to reduce the saturation, and I'm going to make it darker. Okay. So I'm happy with that. Then I'm going to grab the next one down, next one up, hue. So it picked up a color right away. Let me go ahead and sample from this shirt because I wanted that color. And I want it to be darker. So I'm going to slide the slider over. Yeah, I'm happy with that. So I grab the next one up, the next one down, color ribbon wash, and it's pretty close, but I'm going to go ahead and sample from my shirt. Yes, I love that. Okay, next one up, next one down. And then I went with my dress, which in actuality is like very vibrant pink, but the way the color showed up, it looks not that color, but it ended up being really pretty in this rainbow. So I'm going to sample. And that works for me. That's a light shade. And we're going to just work our way down to a darker shade. Sample. Okay, and then saturation. Let's see what this does. Maybe just a little bit more. I'm dragging the slider on the brightness to the left. Perfect. Okay, and last one. Wash one more time. Sample one more time. Put a little more saturation, and then I'm going to go darker. And darker yet. Yeah, that works. Okay, so on page 2 of your directions, you can see all of these different steps in there. So our next step is to unhide and unlock the top and bottom triangles and also the extra copy of the paper. Then we want to select all the pieces that we want in our paper. And like I said before, that is going to be a lot of these little non-bits. And so what I did is I locked the things on the page that I didn't want to include, like my handout and my background and these sample photos. And again, we want to unlock and unhide the background paper. And that just helps kind of fill in where anything might be see-through because of these weird cuts. And unlock and unhide these little triangles. Control A and double check in Elements panel. Does anything look weird? Oop, gotta lock my sample page. Control A. That is good. All right, arrange, flatten. Okay, so I'm going to click away. Every time I've done this, the cutting process just kind of makes, you can see the paper is narrower than it is tall, and a little bit of the background paper is showing through. So if you wanted to, you could trim it. So I am going to do that. I think this time what I'll do is use the square. So cut ribbon, cutters, shapes. It pops up to a square. I'm going to leave it there. And I'm just going to go slightly inside of the edge. And you can type in your numbers. So maybe 11.9 by 11.9. And then grab it and then use my arrows to center that. That looks good. And then I'm going to keep the unshaded. That's correct. And cut. So I just want that to be clean, and then I resize it. 12 by 12. Center on your page, if necessary, which mine is. So Home tab, Align, Center on Page. And then I just put a tip that, if you want to use this later, that you could save it as a paper in an art kit. So right-click, Save Selection, Save Image, in Personal Art Kit. It's going to pop up because you're using copyrighted material, but you're not using it to resell. You're just using it for your own page. So it's okay. You're just acknowledging that you're not going to sell it. Then it'll go into saving it into a personal art kit. So I'd recommend having one set up before you start this process. So I have one set up, and then it comes in as an embellishment. So I'd recommend saving it as a paper. And then, I named it Rainbow Paper. I'm not going to do it again because I've already done it. All right, and then when you're done, of course, you can finish decorating, adding your story, adding embellishments. I ended up applying the rainbow gradient to this embellishment and changing it to white when I got over the colors. And I also used rainbow stroke, so a gradient rainbow in the stroke on the title. And there is another blog post about that. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.